Welcome back to Daily Dose. My name is Robert. I'm here with Chris from Dugout Mugs. And is it dugoutmugs.com? Is that
Yep.
the
Yep.
website? Okay. So dugoutmugs.com. It'll certainly be down in the description as well. People, please check it out. I featured last episode the Boys of Summer mug. Thank you so much for that, for what it's done for us. There more connections, though. One of the very cool things I want to highlight you did, and this speaks toward your company and speaks toward your heart of connecting. You said, "Hey, what would you think about meeting the director of the Sandlot?" And I go, "What? Are you kidding me?" The director, writer, David Mickey Evans, a legend in his own mind,
Yeah, he's
in his own
incredible.
world, our own world, because of what he created. This great movie that has not only lasted the test of time, but it's
Decade.
grown,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah,
30
the
years.
momentum's grown. I talk to people and they say, "Oh, it's my kid's favorite movie." Right? And that's impressive to be able to put it to be able to be like I'm in my 40s to see the
Yeah.
movie, appreciate the movie, and my kids who are 5 and 10 watch it with me. I and so what David did and created was incredible. I think also I was just chatting with him yesterday. Uh, Who he is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like I've had a chance to go live with him a few times and talk. We did some fun collaborative things with the Sandlot mug and the Sandlot hats that we dropped. I don't know if you saw those; they're awesome.
We got one in our auction. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
legend
legends
never die.
never die with the
Great.
so David's just a good dude,
Yeah.
and I really value that relationship quite a bit. He's an awesome guy, um, and I hope we continue to do things with him for a long time, and hopefully bring value back to what he's doing. Help the vision that he brought to life. Continue that legacy. Not that he needs us to do that, but creating cool, fun, quality products that remember that will help that legacy continue to live on, which that's a neat thing to be able to create something on a pretty shoestring budget from the conversations he and I had, and it turned into a cult classic that's going
Oh,
to carry a legacy for him and the guys in it. Some of those guys, from what I understand, may potentially one hit wonders, right, in the
yeah.
movie, but then they always have that legacy behind him, which is pretty cool.
They show up. I know just recently, gosh, I'm going to forget his name, who played Ham, the great Hambino.
Oh,
Uh,
Patrick Renna.
Patrick Rennet did an event with the Savannah Bananas, and he
Yeah, I
was up
saw that.
there, and the crowd went. They lost their mind when he went up to the
Yeah.
plate. Right? He still looks like he did as a kid, kind of. He's got his great new
Little
book.
older, little
Yeah,
taller.
but
Still
you can
man.
still see, oh, it's him. And
Yeah.
another connection, Tom Geary, who played Smalls, was cool enough to. I found a replica of the Babe Ruth ball, the famous Babe Ruth,
Oh,
that
cool.
looked like it was chewed, and they sell them, for a little bit. And I said, would you mind signing this as Scotty Smalls, saying I'm sorry to Dad, and he did. And it's like,
Oh, that's fun.
so that's in our auction. And you're right. I mean, so, they continue to live lives and be touched by it and expand in their own ways. Again, their own stories. They are
Yeah.
legends, of course. And as you mentioned with David, getting to talk to him, not only a good guy, but seeing the value of his work. And he's trying to increase the story there. He talked about telling, the prequel of Mr. Myrtle. I mean, that's like the hidden piece of the movie. He's like, he wants to expand that universe. And for Sandlot fans, we're like, oh man, a Mr. Myrtle prequel, that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That would be cool.
So, yeah, I mean, he gets it. And again, back to your love of stories and why you would do this. Were you affected by stories as a kid? Did somebody read to you? Did you watch movies, or what
Oh,
made
I'm
you love
sure.
stories?
Yeah. So when I was young, I mean, my mom, she worked at least two jobs at a time, just hustling. And, my dad was in sales and so there was a lot of time where my brother and I, watched movies, played games, did this kind of stuff. So that was certainly it. I found myself reading somewhat, probably more than the other kids my age and doing things. But for me, I've always had a good connection with people, and I feel like storytelling and connection has been at the core of it. So so as I build my companies, I build them, because I've had several companies before this. And as I built them, I've always built them with that connection in mind, the network, the people in the story. I feel like it just really gives it, multiple dimensions of attraction to people, right? Versus just, hey, we sell bat mugs. Simon Sinek is a great, example of that. The book Start With Why. That's a
Yeah.
really cool book. And he does some talks on it as well. But I think why people buy why you do what you do, not what you do, kind of
Yeah.
mentality.
I love that idea. And like you say, that once again underscores the intent of storytelling. And, part of my research and what I try to bring forward to, people medicinally is to say, look, your story can be like another piece of medicine you take,
Yeah,
because
therapy.
it's happening. The stories are being written whether you understand them or not, right? Subconsciously, our brains are patterning, they're doing that. Now the question becomes, do you want to become, the active author in your story, or do you let things happen to you? And we see examples of that all the time. In stories we love, the heroes are active. They do stuff. We go, yeah, we cheer for them. When heroes become passive, we either lose interest or we begin to worry, like, what's wrong with them, right? So it's the same with us engaging in our own stories in our own lives. Are we going to be the authors of what we have? We can't control life, but we can affect life, right? Based on, like you said, experiences, relationships, sharing why and tapping into other people's why. These are all ways to connect. Yeah.
I think transparency and vulnerability
Mm.
and being unapologetically authentic are a few areas in which I found strength as well. Because I think others will learn from your story when they are believable, when they're authentic, and things like that too. I actually, ironically, I just did a post on LinkedIn this morning, and it said, are you going to be the hero in the story, the villain in the story, or the faceless extra, that barely even has a role, right? And you're either reading it, writing it, or watching, kind of thing. It's like, makes you think a little bit. The whole premise of it is like, if you knew, or no, how much more intently would you read the sentences in a book if you knew you couldn't turn back to the previous page, right? Because that's really what life is.
Mm.
Once you turn that page, you're on the next page. You can never go back to that. So
Right.
how much more attention would you pay? Would
Right.
you still be listening to TV or on your phone and just staying distracted if you knew that you were on the last chapter? Assuming that it's a series of books, but it's a pamphlet instead, because that's some people's reality.
Yeah. And that word intent is incredibly powerful. It's one that we use a lot in Parkinson's because, the autonomic system gets attacked, right? The things we assume that you could do, whether it's breathing or movement or, any other things, chewing, if you don't pay attention, speaking, if you don't do them with intent with Parkinson's,
Yeah.
you lose the efficacy of them. And so they are forced to, people with Parkinson's, live with intent. And it has the same effect you mentioned right there, to really say, you know what, now is the moment. Today is the day. This is where I'm going to have my greatest effect, because like you say, I cannot change what happened. I can change how I feel about it. I
Mm-hmm.
can rewrite what the future might be, and I can certainly take care of right now, but the past has happened.
Yeah, well, and sadly, it usually takes an event or a diagnosis or a life-threatening situation to really um, ignite that flame in people.
Yeah.
And like, so I had a situation about 10 years ago where I had a much larger chance of not making it than I felt comfortable with. And I came out the other side of it with a different lens that I looked through, and everything from that point on was impacted in a very good way. The best thing that could have ever happened to me is I got that news, and I almost, it sounds bad, but I almost wish more people could get news like that,
So,
because then how they go about the rest of their life is positively impacted.
I mean, what you're saying from a movie fan, it immediately sparks of one of the great horror films, which has a great horror series, which has that message of the heart. You've probably seen the the Jigsaw movies.
Yeah, yeah,
At
yeah,
its
yeah,
heart,
yeah.
that's what he's saying, right? Yes, it goes really wrong and bad, but the message of appreciate what you have, you know, is 100% right. And unfortunately, like you say, the intensity of the delivery in order to make people snap out of it, come alive, pay attention. Everybody's got their own path to get there. I mean, my dad's diagnosis and back to back with my mom's, she had a breast cancer diagnosis 2 weeks before he got his Parkinson's diagnosis. Yeah, that snapped me out. It's changed the last 25 years of my life, even though it wasn't me, as my parents going, okay, that I
Close
assume
enough.
their health. No
Yeah,
more
it's
assuming.
it's, it's close enough, and it's wild how just a split, a little fork in the road like that at a certain event, how much different things are now for you than they would have been without it. And again, it's like, oh, I wish I could. Wish is a funny word, but I
Yeah.
feel like if people really take a look at that, like that, these things that are close to us impact our story and how we tell it and what you do, and then the ripple effects that you put in play, and it just compounds. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
wild if you're not numb to it,
Yeah.
zoned out on social media or your cell phone or any of this stuff. This the ultimate mind numbing, the national mind, worldwide mind numbing that's going on.
It's so easy to do. I mean, I think part of the reason we're so attracted to like zombie apocalypse type films is because of, like you said, we recognize the amount of mind numbing that is going on. That's an allegory or a metaphor, the zombie like behavior, because like you say, it's people who are tuned out as opposed to socially connected
Yeah.
and interpersonally connected too. This is actually what I want. This is actually what I care about. This is where I want to have influence and live my life in a way that matters. I'm right with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, let's come back. There's a great story, another tangential one that you just recently done amazing work with. We're making an announcement today, and he's a legend, and I look forward to sharing that with our audience. So I'll see you on the next dose.
Awesome.